wise native elder named Good Buffalo Eagle once said, "The Creator gave all two-legged beings the sacred gift, the gift of choice, and a sense of knowing right from wrong. Therefore, the gift of choice allows us to choose knowingly." Hello, my name is Amikaeyla, and I have a question for you. And it's a real question, actually. I really want to know what makes you, you. What is the essence within you that ignites your spark of passion and drives you to be beyond all the ists and isms? Because people ask me all the time, why are you so nice to everyone? Why are you always so happy? How can you stay so positive when the world is just so horrible? And I just laugh and say, because I choose to. And it hasn't always been this way. I haven't always been this way. Well, maybe a little bit. My mother loves to tell the story of how she would frantically come running in to check on me in my crib, petrified because I rarely cried. And she would find me and they're just playing and laughing. And my grandparents would say, it's because she's such an old soul. And maybe that's true. I know sometimes it feels this way. And maybe I did stroll into the world with this inherently fairly joyful demeanor. But now that I'm older with laugh lines and salt and pepper locks, I've also had my fair share of weary and woe. And now I know that choosing to be compassionate and kind to everyone, while also choosing to be ruthlessly real and authentic with everyone, well, that isn't old soul genetics. That's just real life work, and can be seriously challenging when you've grown up hearing this age-old adage, pretty is as pretty does. And that was the saying that my grandmother said to my mother, and in turn, my mother said to me. And it's a lovely sentiment. It's truly a wonderful core ethos and goal to shoot for in theory. Who you are is more important than how you look. But in my little child mind, it meant that to be pretty, I was supposed to do and say what I thought others wanted me to do and say, as opposed to what I wanted and needed to do and say for me. And it meant that I had to constantly figure out what was wanted and expected from me at all times, from choosing the schools I was supposed to attend to the extracurricular activities that colleges would like, to being a cheerleader that the boys would like, to choosing the grad school and profession that my parents would like, and so on and so on and so on. And the stress of trying to be perfect, it causes these little micro cracks. But there's always a moment, and that moment, in that moment, when you decide, almost as if you're on autopilot, that you have to choose you, even if it's just something small. But that decision has a huge ripple effect of strength and confidence in your life. It certainly did for me. And it took me literally being killed and coming back to realize that in every moment, I, you, we get to choose to be beyond the ists and isms of our body wrappers and into the beauty of our communal molecular connections, where we can choose to continue to believe that the impossible is possible. Continue to love, hope, be fearless, brave, courageous, and bold, even when we are tired, weary, and feeling lost and alone. And we choose to because we must. Side note, I love languages and etymology. And so I looked up the origin of the word must. It's from Persia. It's Urdu, and it means to be compelled, as if by intoxication, describing a state that elephants are in when in heat. They're in must. So that's what we're talking about here, conjuring an innate drive that defies logic and calls you to go beyond, be beyond. For it's moments like this one, especially in times like these, when we need to remember that we are all together, all connected, and all experiencing so many things in this extraordinary moment in time. A time when we need to muster all our strength, corral all our community, and call on our deepest superpowers. This is the time when we all must come forth and stand in witness and in action to our desire and commitment to inclusion, belonging, forgiveness, and compassion, so we can regrow and reshape our powerful present. Because we are in a time where we not only can make a difference, we must. And I say this as someone who survived a near fatal hate crime where 5 white men in a truck purposefully ran me over and tried to kill me. And I died on that day. And I came back on that day and spent many more days undergoing surgeries, blood transfusions, and immobilized in ICUs and burn units. And that act born out of hatred and racism transformed my life and not only made me a survivor, which takes pure grit, perseverance, resolve, determination, and tenacity, but baby, a thriver as well. Before I died, I did everything I was supposed to. I chose the schools, I did the courses, all of this, creating a lifestyle I was supposed to. Yet when I left my body and sailed beyond my mangled, bloody sack of skin lying there under the truck, beyond all of those people at the scene of the crime, beyond the field and the forest where it all took place, and up and past the birds and clouds up to the setting sun, I saw and felt through all of my senses my connection to everything, my connection to all beings, creatures, plants, the universe. I was fully aware in that flow state and with that meta perspective. And while I was flying, I got good with dying. So when I returned back to my broken body, I knew that my connection to the universe made me ruthlessly connected to the soul of what lies beneath. And that in order to heal and get back out into the world again, I needed to honor, to be ruthlessly in love with me for a change. I learned while in this state of being beyond several life lessons, which helped me find the strength and inspiration to move swiftly forward and choose to change and evolve as opposed to staying stuck in the trauma and the pain. And I truly believe you can train your brain to access this flow state moment so that when severe adversity strikes in life, as well as in each moment, you can and will choose to be beyond. Because we are all part rock, part animal, part vegetable, part mineral. And if I peeled off your skin and just showed your protons and electrons and cells working in harmony, we would all be pretty much identical. And although it appears we are constantly driven to a state of difference and dissonance, discord and dis-ease, science and the world around us shows regularly that inclusion is a natural state. This new way of understanding evolutionary becoming is a philosophical awareness which recognizes that all form is flow form. And when we dismiss false dichotomies of either or, binary thinking, Black versus white, and embrace our all-encompassing kaleidoscope mind, we can see through the persuasive illusion of divisive difference and transcend this unnatural separation. Because bottom line, everyone wants to be genuinely liked for who they are. But the larger issue is that people are afraid they're all alone in the world. And then there's that word, alone, which means literally wholly oneself or all one. It's why we're here, to be wholly oneself or all one within the team, one race, one species, one life force with all life. We're all one even when we're alone, and we are all connected. And we are all our relations. You're a relative to me, and me to you, and all of us to each other. So when I get down and frustrated and literally petrified by these challenging times, I have to remind myself that we are all a part of each other. And to love myself fully, I need to love all of us. And when we embrace inclusion, we're never alone. We can be seen and heard and honored for our individual contributions, because even the tiniest bolt is vital. When I watch the news and see how our country and the world still treats women and children and people of color and immigrants and the poor, and how sexism and racism and homophobia and all the isms and ists are still alive and well, and how we face it regularly, despite how it wears us out, the fight and struggle for equality and the constant need for discussion and correction, with the ever age-old quote of, "I am tired of being sick and tired." I remember Harriet Tubman, honey, like for real. What did that sister have to muster to do what she did? Talk about resilience and grit. Woo! And that's what we've got access to. That. I went home recently to Washington, D.C., which is this interesting masala of North, South, homegrown and transient, powerful and impoverished. descendants of the indigenous and the slave. And I went to commemorate the opening of this beautiful National Museum of African American History and Culture, and to be a part of all the festivities with family and friends, and to remember not only my ancestors and what they went through when brought chained in boats across the Atlantic and were bought and sold like chattel to others who viewed them as animals, as product, as disposable. My sweet mama, carry me home, or how this country that we call home came to be. She will tell me the story, how we overcome, but to remember how we survived and thrived and continue to live and give and share and care and be parents, grandparents, and children of the earth, salt, sea, dusk, and dawn. We'll understand it better by and by. And as I stood in front of Harriet Tubman's shawl and prayer hymnal, I wept because I remembered these things. Her words of courage, her intrepid spirit, the fact that she ran through moonlight to the trees, felt the moss and the lichen to determine the right direction. She ate plants from the earth to keep her strength. She drank from the streams and swam across rivers to make it to freedom. And we'll understand it better by and by. I wept because I remembered that I am her and she is me. She's all of us. She is our story and our now. And I remember that my ancestors had to face all of this every day and then some. But they stood strong and powerful and carried on, and I am their legacy. You are the legacy of your ancestors, their hard work, their knowledge, their survival spirit. So you not only owe it to yourself to live a long and powerful life and to share your powerful life and vision and message with others, you owe it to them as well. Our voice is our primal power, so find yours. When we speak our truth into power, we make a loud and lasting difference. And when we truly love ourselves and are not afraid to be truly who we are, we share our completely unique thumbprint. So this is an invitation to embrace a broader perspective, a chance to break free from old thought patterns and habits and assumptions and expand our mind and authentically express ourselves boldly and bravely and ruthlessly. Because if we could all learn to embrace that which can undo us and confuse us and cause dissonance within us and get to a place through pure love, resolve, and determination to choose compassion, we can not only shift our brain patterns and heal ourselves, but the communities and the world. Thank you.